Mr. Speaker, last week I raised my concerns about the NDP's practice of having civil servants being involved in political activities. And that was when the Assistant Deputy Minister, Ben Rempel, wrote an email asking staff in the civil service to become involved in a political rally. And I believed then that there would be other examples. And certainly today we have another example of the NDP involving civil servants in political activities. And the Election Commissioner has said that this is wrong, that it broke the law. I asked the Premier, will he come clean today and tell us how many more times has the NDP involved civil servants in political activities?
The Assistant Deputy Minister in question made it very clear that he recommended against any public servant being involved in the events going on at the legislature that day. The email clarifies that. And the member should not assume that there have been any other requests to do that. Public servants do their job in the public interest. We have an excellent public service in Manitoba. They are well regarded around the country for the goods and services they deliver to Manitobans. And it is very clear from the most recently tabled email in the legislature that the ADM in question recommended against his staff being involved in the events down here in the legislature.
Mr. Speaker, we now have two very clear examples of the NDP involving civil servants in political activities. The instance that was brought forward by the Election Commissioner, in which he ruled today that the NDP broke the law, involved two cabinet ministers, the Minister of Health and the Minister of Education, and it involved using government staff civil servants in the preparation of material and the organization of a political event in the campaign last year, in the provincial election campaign. I ask the Premier, given the ruling of the Election Commissioner, what will the Premier do to discipline the Minister of Health and the Minister of Education?
Again, we fully accept the findings of the Commissioner, including the comment that he did not believe this was an intentional breach of the Act, including the comment that he could understand why the Act was interpreted in the way that it was, but nonetheless he found that it was a breach of the Act. We fully accept that. There was no untoward or ill-motivated behavior here. People thought they were properly following the Act. The Commissioner has ruled otherwise, and we will take that as guidance in future behavior.
Mr. Speaker, the Election Commissioner has been very clear that the NDP broke the rules. The NDP involved civil servants in a political activity. This is the second major time that this has come to light within the last period. I ask the Premier, why has his government on more than one occasion broken normal democratic processes which emphasize the independence of the civil service? I ask the Premier once again, how many times have members of his government involved civil servants in political activities? Will the Premier come clean today, or are we going to get more and more of these activities coming out in the days and the months ahead?
The member shouldn't jump to conclusions about whether there's any involvement of public servants in political activities. In the case of the Commissioner's complaint or ruling, he decided that there was a breach of the Act, but he also indicated that he did not believe it was intentional. So people will take the guidance from that ruling and they will act accordingly in the future. It's an important decision that has been rendered by the Elections Commissioner. And the public service in Manitoba is very highly regarded for its high degree of professionalism, its commitment to public service, and its willingness to serve the public. And we want to continue to have a very strong public service in Manitoba. And where any untoward behavior is detected, that will be corrected. But we should put it in the context of a public service that has rendered excellent service to the people of Manitoba and is well regarded across the country.